What's up, guys? My name is Noah Voigt, the host of Noah's Archives. Here on my podcast, I am attempting to inform the incoming college student or the struggling college student on how to tackle and address the challenges and trials of college. If you're interested in joining that journey, follow and subscribe. Today, we're going to be talking about how to navigate, how to study, and how to manage your time well. So, if all of that interests you, continue watching and enjoy. Bye, guys. What's up, guys? I'm Noah. As you've heard, welcome back to Noah's Archive. I'm so thankful that you decided to watch this episode. And you might be wondering, why are we talking about this topic? And it's a good question. We're talking about this subject of studying and time management because I feel like this is definitely something every college student struggles with, or at least has like a season of their life where they're like, what am I doing? How do I study, have friends, eat, sleep, and do well in all of those things? And I know for myself, the first couple years of college, this was really when I was like navigating, what am I to do? Like, I hear these people saying like, no, you're going to have to study more like once you get to college. And I was like, okay, I'm a good student. I don't need to do that. But no, it's a real thing, and it hits you like a truck sometimes. So how can we get ahead of that and stay on top of that? That's what today's episode's all about. Because like I said, it's very easy for almost all students, if you're not already aware of what you need to know, it's easy to get overwhelmed and I guess taken over to a degree by the feeling of needing to study, have friends, make relationships, and those types of things. So that's kind of why I really chose this topic. And as I just hinted at earlier, my freshman and sophomore year were quite atrocious when it came to this. I like hyper focused on studying, and I was like, the only thing that matters is getting good grades and having that A in the class, when everything else in my life was suffering because of that. And I was like, I have no friends. I have no time to sleep because I need to study the night before. No. If you manage your time well, it's going to be okay, and you're going to be able to do things well while also not spreading yourself thin. So I guess that's all to say. Like, I've been there before. I know it's something serious and needs to be addressed. So that's why we're doing today's episode. Like, I really just wish, like, when I was in that scenario, in that situation, I wish somebody would have just sat me down and not given me the, no, I know you're smart right now in college or in high school. I know you're smart right now. You're going to need to study. Like, that's not what reaches people. Like, you need to, like, talk things out. And I wish somebody would just sat down and told me that. Like, it's genuinely just not going to work because a lot of things are going to be thrown at you. And you're going to have to juggle them and juggle them well, or you're going to be overwhelmed. So whether you're the student like I was in high school, where you were like, I don't have to study, I'll have to show up for class and somewhat pay attention and I'll be good. Or you were like, I got C's and D's, I'm passing, I'm chilling, I don't need to do anything else. No matter who you are or what type of student you are, studying and managing your time well is still very, very important. So even if you go through those classes that are like, ooh, these are really easy, and I feel like I don't need to study at all, there are going to be classes where you're going to have to study. And there are going to be some where you have to really focus and really steward and manage your time well. So with that, let's get into how can we address that topic. So yeah, how do we really tackle this problem? And there's a lot of practical things that I feel like we should definitely start with when talking about time management and studying. And the thing that I feel like we need to start with is something that applies to all students, because there's so many things that apply for certain student types or people who learn in a certain way. But what are some things that every single person can do and it will help them? And I feel like these are a couple of things that I believe do just that. And the first thing that I feel like, again, would be the base of a lot of things is create a calendar or get a planner and fill it out. So before every semester or trimester, if you go to the school like me, you're going to get your classes and you're going to get what times those classes are. And once you go to that class a couple times, you're going to know, all right, this is how much time I need to do the homework. This is how much time I need to study. And this is when the tests are, things like that. So you'll know those three things. You'll know time slot, you'll know how much time you need to study, and how much time do you need to do homework. Once you know those things, you will block out time on that calendar and that planner to do those things and do them well. All right. After that, there are certain things that you want to pour into yourself. As for me, I know prioritizing my friends is a problem for me a lot of times. So I have to order, where do I need to pour my time into? So at the top of it is church and friends. That's two of the things that I feel like I need to intentionally set time out to do. So church, obviously, there's the gatherings that I go to and the meeting times that they have, and I'm going to go to those at those times. So those are already pre-blocked on the list. Now, the next thing is blocking out time for friends. And I know when I say that or when I hear that, a lot of times it can sound like, this sounds like I'm forcing time or fitting you in the schedule, and it's just fake. But when in reality, no, it's the exact opposite. Like, I know I want to have a relationship with you or be friends with you, and I know I need to spend time in that. And I'm worried that myself will neglect that if I don't set time aside. So we'll get over that idea of I'm a busy businessman who is making time in a schedule just for you. No, you're a friend who's intentionally setting time out of the way to pour into your friend and them pour into you. So that's why we do that, and we have to get over that mindset a little bit over it. So after those two things, then I also need to block out time for sleep, because sleep is important. I'll get into it a little bit later and how important it is, but block out time for those things. And now that you've used that planner, you can go to other things, right? So at the beginning of this, I was saying, like, I am a student who has the mindset of I need to get A's no matter what. That's the type of student I am. You also need to figure out what type of student you are. So there's a lot of resources in the description that my school has given me, and I believe they prepare us very well and try their best to allow us to have the best college experience possible. So I linked a lot of the resources that they've given us in the description. So a couple of them are like assessments on like what type of learner you are, what you struggle with, and why you might not be performing the best, and fill those out. And below those, there's going to be a section that's like, all right, if you struggle with this, here's a resource that you can look into to help fix that or work on that. And I believe those are great steps and starts to your journey of becoming a better student. So after that, I feel like another thing that I need to talk about is like practical studying tips. Now that you know your student type and what you are good at and what you need to work on, now you need to know, all right, what type of ways of studying are there? Now I have the time set apart and set aside to study and do homework. How can I use that time the best? And there's a lot of different things. Again, for me as a student, I have found these three things that I'm about to say are the best for me as a student, and they help me the most as a student. But there are so many other methods. And there's another resource, again, in the description that's going to be there for your use. So use them. But these are the three things that I have seen the most help from or know them to be the most helpful in my experience. So the first one is called the Pomodoro technique. I think I said that right. And it's very practical and very simple. It's study for 25 minutes and take a 5-minute break and do that until you're done with your material. And I like that because, number one, it gives me time to rest a little bit in the middle of a lot of studying. It gives me like, okay, I'm not just doing this. I can put my focus elsewhere for a second and then dial back in or log back in. And I love that. And that helps me so much. The second thing that I believe helps me the most, and I've experienced because I got to look at the past, is I love using study cards or flashcards. And one of the biggest resources that I've used is called Quizlet. If you haven't used that, download it if you like flashcards, because that is what I use and will continue to use for the rest of my life, because that is how I study the best, especially in like my major, biology. There's a lot of minute terms and details about certain things that the flashcards actually help me best with. And there's a lot of pictures and resources on Quizlet itself that help for that topic. Now, the last thing is something I actually neglect or have neglected in the past, but I know it would help me the most, and it's study groups. Now, I say study groups, and all that means is you're partnering with other people and sitting next to them, and you are helping each other study the material that's set in front of you. A lot of times, I think it's best, obviously, if you're in the same class with one person. Like, you're in class on a Monday, and it's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and the test is Friday. All right, after Monday's class, hey, guys, I'm a little worried for the test. Do you guys want to study together? And if they say no, that's okay. Hey, if you have time in the future, let's do it. If they say yes, block out a little time for them. It's so helpful for me as a student to group learn. Like, I learn best when I hear other people's words for certain things, and I think that's so helpful. So that's the 3 things that I feel like are really, really helpful for me and would be helpful for me if I did them more. But there's other things like making sure you do the hardest thing first and doing the easiest thing last. So you get over the hardest thing and then continue on. Like, I've used that before, and it's worked fairly well. And then there's another technique that's like, okay, what's going to take the most time? What's the most time-consuming thing? Let's do that first, and then we're going to get accomplishing the small things. And all those things have their pros and their cons, and that's for you to work through. What's going to be the most efficient and effective for you as a student? And that's something like you learn as you go on, but those resources are there, so use them, and don't be afraid to use them. After the studying, there's the rest of your life. For me, like I was saying, my freshman and sophomore year, it was so hard for me to get out of the school is all that matters mentality. I neglected everything else in my life. And that's what I'm telling you this. Do not neglect your life outside of school. You need friends around you. You need community. And for me, I needed a church. I needed a family pouring into me. So make time for those people, those friends, and hobbies. So for me, I've already told you about the friends in church, but I also love playing sports. I need to get out every week and play something. I cannot stay inside all week. So I make sure that at least once a week, most likely more, if you know me, I go more than once a week, I set aside time to go play soccer or go throw the frisbee with people, or I play ultimate, or I do something along those lines. I move. I need to do that, and I believe other people should too if that's your hobby. If you like to draw or be creative, do those things too. If you like to watch movies, go watch one movie a week at least. Those are the types of things like make time for yourself and don't neglect yourself. This last part of this section of the video, I think, is very important. And I say this very seriously. Don't feel guilty for taking a break and resting. You need it. Staying on top of things is one thing, but burning out is another. And this quote from an article I was reading summarizes a lot of the mentalities of a lot of people that you're going to be encountering. And it says this, and it's called The High Achiever's Dilemma is the name of the article. And a quote is, burnout isn't a badge of honor. And then I added to it with this, it is a sign of many underlying issues, and it will kill your drive, and it will kill your passion. And this goes for your whole life. So please don't wear burnout as a badge. It is not a good thing. A lot of people are going to say that like, oh, I took 2 hours of sleep last night, studied all night. I've done the same thing. It's not a good thing. You're neglecting yourself and hurting yourself and burning yourself out. Be intentional of watching out for yourself. So those are some of the things that I feel like we should definitely prioritize as we go throughout college. But yeah, those are the applications, and I really do hope you do apply them. But there's one thing I feel like last episode, it was like, remember that you're going to change. And I feel like there's a similar call in this episode with what I'm about to say. As you're trying to apply these things and you're going throughout your journey of college, you're going to have slip-ups and fails. Whether that looks like you didn't study enough for a test and you got a grade that you didn't want, or you said, hey, I'm going to hang out with you at this time, but you studied too long, or you did something else too long, or you did the opposite. You hung out with your friends and you forgot to study. All of those things are going to happen, and it's going to be okay. Small steps of progress are still progress. And don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of the big picture, because that's how you get burnout and you start to spiral and you aren't as successful. So one thing that I need to remind myself now as I'm growing is give yourself grace. I know often in my life it's very easy. I tend to show grace to other people. And like if somebody does me wrong, it like rolls off my back and I'm like, hey, you're good, dog. But like if I do something wrong and I mess up, I hold it over my own head for so long. And I think about it so much. And it's like, how could you do this when I'm a human just like everyone else and I need to show grace to myself? Don't forget that. And again, if you fail, it is okay. Get up and continue on and try to get a little bit better the next day. So whether it be like setting a reminder every day to pray at this time, or setting your clothes out the night before at 8 a.m., small steps like that of getting into routines and habits like that, those are good things. Those are not small. They are progress, and that's huge. As we end this episode, I hope that you learned a little bit today and you've gotten a little guidance and direction about how to better live out the college life and how you can help others in their college journey. So guys, if you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe and follow, but comment. I truly want to be a resource to you, just like the resources in the description. So don't be afraid to DM me on Instagram or reach out on my email or comment something below. I want to be there for you. So if you feel like this could be a resource for anyone in your life, don't be afraid to share it to them, because I know I needed that help when I was in their shoes. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed. But don't forget, don't do college life alone. Let's navigate college together. God loves you. I love you. Bye, guys.